Cambodian Broadcasting Network.
Chim đẹp xưa, nhưng khi nhóm chúng mình ta đại diện là nghe xa bao miền CBN Australia, cha xong có đọc bóng bóng tại nơi con sọc nơi sọc ở khné chơi sẽ đội kẹt này vừa từ tua khai một lần so CBN Australia, cha lại níคือจะทั้งไงที่ดับประมวยยกขยมกำปองแต่nơi một dụ anh toa tại mặt đó đặc biệt chụp bao nhiêu chụp mùi lục sơ giá sơ bát đi cha xong chơi.
For such a ban, the government is reminded that under Article 4 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, to which Cambodia is a party, measures derogating from obligations under the covenant can only be taken to the extent strictly required by the exigencies of the situation. Only in regard to public emergencies which threaten the life of the nation and the existence of which is officially proclaimed. I have not seen an official proclamation of a public emergency of such gravity that threatens the life of the nation. In the absence of a legal basis, the ban on demonstration should be lifted. I view with concern the inability of the existing mechanism for setting a minimum wage to respond to the demands of workers. The authorities should consider strengthening the mechanism to set the minimum wage or establish a new mechanism that is mandated to take into consideration the research necessary for evidence-based decision-making and regular revision, in particular properly reflecting changes in the cost of living. The wage level ultimately agreed upon requires data, analysis and participation, not repression. I urge the government to negotiate with workers and their representatives in the garment sector in good faith and to seek international assistance, such as from the International Labour Organization, towards the establishment of a proper minimum wage determination mechanism. As a state party to the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, the government of Cambodia must work to ensure that the national minimum wage is set at a level sufficient to provide all workers and their families with a decent standard of living, and to that effect that such national minimum wage is periodically reviewed. In my interaction with various stakeholders on labour issues, I was also concerned to hear that some workers and trade union leaders have faced threats and acts of intimidation as a result of their involvement in industrial action. In this regard, I wish to call upon the government and other stakeholders to take all necessary measures to ensure that the trade union rights of all workers in Cambodia are fully respected and that trade unionists are able to exercise their activities in a climate free of intimidation and risk to their personal security or their lives. I am encouraged by the assurances repeated by the Prime Minister that the three fundamental laws on the judiciary will be tabled before Parliament in the near future. I await further details about the larger judicial reform process that is said to have commenced, and I am encouraged by the announcement made to me that the reform will be more ambitious than is reflected in my recommendations. I am similarly encouraged by the government's announcement to me that the comprehensive electoral reform will begin in earnest with the convening of a seminar on this matter next month. The government pledged to speed up reform in both sectors in conformity with my recommendations. While taking note of the calls of the government for the opposition party to take up its seats in the National Assembly, I am of the view that the speedy parliamentary reform is essential to enable the opposition to play a meaningful role as an opposition in parliament. I was encouraged by the openness of the Prime Minister on this point and look forward to seeing a concrete reform plan agreed upon by the two parties made public as soon as possible. While generally welcoming the land titling program undertaken by the government under Directive 001 of May 2012, I continue to be concerned by issues of transparency, accountability, and the absence of an effective dispute settlement mechanism associated with the Directive 001. Other chronic land disputes, including Bangkok Lake, Boraikela, and other communities, should be resolved immediately. And new land concessions should only be granted when the rights of the people affected by them are provided for. I welcome the receptiveness of the government to resume work on its long-standing commitment to establish an independent national human rights institution. I understand that a draft has been under preparation for some time and that work on it will resume shortly. I stress that it will only be added value to the human rights infrastructure today if its independence is guaranteed in full conformity with the Paris Principles. The impact of the ongoing political impasse is of serious concern to me because of the direct impact it has on the enjoyment of human rights by all in Cambodia. To this end, I expressed my view in my various meetings that political reconciliation was the only way forward for the country and urged the government to exercise flexibility in working out a solution to end the impasse. Equally, in my interaction with the leaders of the Cambodian National Rescue Party, I highlighted the need to demonstrate flexibility in their dealings with the government in reaching a political compromise. Having listened to both sides, I believe it is imperative for the leaders to overcome the mistrust and immediately return to the negotiating table without further delay, possibly in the presence of a third party, either to witness or mediate if deemed helpful. In my meeting with the leaders of the Cambodian National Rescue Party, I also highlighted that tolerance and racial harmony were crucial for the future of democracy in the country. I am alarmed by the anti-Vietnamese language allegedly used in public by the opposition. It has also been brought to my attention that on 3rd January, on the scene of violent clashes, earlier in the day, near Vang Sreng Road, several ethnic Vietnamese-owned establishments were reportedly attacked and looted. Dissemination of ideas based on racial superiority or hatred, incitement to racial discrimination, as well as acts of violence or incitement to such acts against any race or group of persons of another color or ethnic origin, or all acts that have no place in a democratic society. I assured both sides that the international community was ready to assist them in reaching a political settlement. Cambodia stands at a crossroads, at a crucial crossroads. I sense the optimism and desire for change in the country, which is possible if underpinned by serious and comprehensive reforms of state institutions, as spelled out in detail in 4 of my reports to the United Nations Human Rights Council. Change is inevitable to meet the aspirations of the population in a dynamic world. I have received positive assurances of such reform during my present mission and will wait anxiously to see these assurances translated into concrete actions. Change is coming to Cambodia faster than many had anticipated. The challenge for the current political leadership within both of the main political parties is to embrace change and to find a way to manage it in the best interest of the country. Last but not least, I would like to thank the government, the Cambodia and Geneva offices of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights for the assistance rendered to me during my mission. And I would like to thank you again for coming to meet with me this afternoon. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Wan Hee Lee, the representative of OHCHR here in Cambodia. I trust that you've all had plenty of opportunity to satisfy your needs for photographs of the Special Rapporteur. So we can, with your indulgence, I'll enter the picture and we can take a moment to take questions. Please identify yourself clearly if you have a question to pose. We will go maybe 5 at a time. 1, anyone else? 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Let's go by that for now. Sir.
Hello, sir. Hello, madam.